Ladies and gentlemen, live from Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Wednesday or Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for AEW Dynamite or Collision Event Center. And now here's the man that will bring you the happenings of AEW All Elite Wrestling action, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode 2232 of the show. What's going on? As promised you, I was about to give you the AEW Collision Collision Event Center. Before I do, I want to tell you why that is. Because Collision's was on tonight because of the NHL and NBA playoffs that have been going on. And this is the first time in a long time that AEW Collision is on TBS. So, but I have to admit something that, hey, it's been a crazy day today, and I'm glad that it's over. And let's say I got one more work day tomorrow, and I'm just totally stoked about it. Because it's also payday. I'm going to get a few things and all that. Oh, check it. If you have not seen it yet, and what I got, and it's this great shirt, Joe Hendry, WrestleMania, and say his name is, I believe in Joe Hendry, it says on the back, and there he is, Joe Hendry. So, yep, my Joe Hendry shirt. How cool is that? I got my own personal Joe Hendry shirt. I got to do the pose. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Alright. I figured I'd have a little bit of fun with you guys. Why not have? Alright. Let's talk some little AEW Collision, shall we? I'm trying to kill some time here. And that's right. Kicking it off. And what a great way to kick off Collision. The lovely, the gorgeous, one of the most beautiful women in AEW history. That's right. One of the most. I said one of the most because of couple of ladies I like in AEW. One of the most beautiful women in AEW history. That's right, she's the most gorgeous woman ever in AEW. One of the most gorgeous women in AEW. She is curvaceous, babylicious, gorgeous, funny, and possibly everybody loves her. Ladies and gentlemen, the timeless one. The 4-time AEW Women's World Champ, Toni Storm. The timeless one. Ends up, making an appearance to kick off Collision, to address the Detroit crowd from a balcony, so the night at the theater. And she basically says she still wants to fight, and while she awaits the winner of the awaits the winner of the Mercedes Moné Jamie Hayter women's Owen Hart finals. She says she'll continue to do women's title eliminator matches. And I'll tell you one thing, she wants to be fighting champion. That's one thing. But she says she wants to keep her skills sharp. And I think that is great. That's a great idea. And I got to respect Toni Storm working very hard in that endeavor. And I'll tell you one thing right now. The reason why I love Toni Storm, because not only she's beautiful, but she's funny as heck. But she works hard and tries to be the champion that she knows she can be. So, meanwhile, Lexi Nair interviewed Paragon about what's next for them, and then the grizzled young veteran showed up. It was like a challenge between the GYV and Paragon. Question is, are they going to accept what the heck? We don't know what's going to happen. Oh, by the way, I actually wrote down Spring Break on the description for the AEW Dynamite. It's the final Collision before Beach Break. That's what it is. Beach Break, not Spring Break. Beach Break. So this is the final Collision before Beach Break. So in attendance, Zach Gowen ends up showing up, sitting down and watching the next match as Angelico took on Ricochet. Ricochet did pick up the victory, and Ricochet addressed the Detroit crowd, and then he decided to start something with Zach Gowen, and security tries to stop Ricochet, and Ricochet attacks security, and then he ends up attacking Zach Gowen to the point where he took Gowen's prosthetic leg and walked away. Now, Gowen was a guest of ours on Rant and Rave, and as you know, We just finished up Rant and Rave 2 not too long ago as well. And I will give at the end of this video, I'll quickly give my assessment on the Alberto Del Rio situation. So yeah, Ricochet leaves with Gowan's prosthetic leg. Yeah, Ricochet wants to leave with a jacket from Jimmy Rave and now a prosthetic leg. Are you kidding me? I would have grabbed that prosthetic leg and whacked that bald-headed goof up there. Speaking of Ricochet, he had a Twitter beef with Javon Evans. Good Lord. Come on, dude. You know, if they had a real Worlds Collide between WWE and AEW, Ricochet and Javon Evans, sign me up for that matchup. That's what I would say. Anyways, an 8-man tag team matchup as the Outrunners, AR Fox and Bandito, took on the Don Callis family team of Lance Archer, Kyle Fletcher, and the Roppongi Vice team of Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. Don Callis joins on commentary. Who knows what that hot-headed hot dog head's been spewing up all the venom. In the end, though, the Don Callis family ended up winning that matchup. Meanwhile, John Moxley addressing Samoa Joe as this coming Wednesday on Beach Break, they'll be going after battle each other for the championship. Anthony Bowens went up against Big Shotty Lee Johnson. Bowens wins the matchup, and then Blake Christian tries to get involved and made a mistake of brawling with Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn outsmarted him. Meanwhile, Bowens addresses to the Detroit crowd after the matchup. Meanwhile, the Gates of Agony cut a promo addressing Detroit crowd, and he decided to call out the Learning Trees, Big Bill and Brian Keith. They both come out, though, and started brawling with GOA. So there's that. Another of my favorite ladies is on AEW as Anna Jay, and the lovely, the gorgeous, curvaceous, babylicious, and another funny lady from Australia. What's all these Australian women being beautiful and funny and gorgeous and all? Maybe I should marry one, you know? And that's like the only thing I don't like about Australia about them and big dang bugs, especially the spiders, man. Speaking of spiders, during some of the matches, they had a spider fall down and then the spider come back up. It seems like Thekla may have signed with AEW and soon to make her debut on AEW. I thought she would go to WE to reunite with Julia as the Mafia Bella team, but I think Thekla would fit in with AEW. We'll find out for sure if that's the case. So they addressed Megan Bain before, maybe on a collision course for a tag team matchup. We'll see what happens there. And if I were Megan Bain, I would call on her brother He-Man. You get the joke. Anyways. Will Nightingale went one-on-one with Chris Statlander, and then Wheeler Yuta, a.k.a. Quantum Ranger on crack, decided to show up during the matchup and distracting the referee as Marina Shafir attacked Will Nightingale as, Chris Statlander was outside the ring. Probably doesn't have a clue what's happening. Chris Statlander came up, finished up Will Nightingale, and won the matchup. It seems like Will Nightingale's had enough of Marina Shafir. They had a post-match interview after the show, post-show interview, and Will Nightingale says she's going to become a bigger problem for the Death Rider, especially for Marina Shafir. Well, Sky Blue will return to AEW action next week in her hometown of Chicago. She's looking more gorgeous and beautiful than ever before, I thought she was cutesy with a smile and the tongue sticking out like that, but she wants to get serious. Looks like Julia Hart has did something. Will they reunite? Who knows? Who's she going to be in action against? Well, don't know for sure. Meanwhile, Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander, the Japanese-Canadian international connection of the Don Callis family, took on the Dark Order's Evil Uno and Alex Reynolds. Looks like John Silver's injured. I miss Johnny Hungy. I need to tell you, I know Queen Lauren knows John Silver very well. John's one of the funniest dudes in that group of the Dark Order. Who is funny Brody Lee, the Exalted One's Brody Lee impression. You better suffer. John Silver is hilarious. I like him. I hope to meet him one of these days. I can go, Johnny Hungy to meet me. Johnny Hokey the Beat Bird, and do that pose that he does. I like John Silver. He's really cool. Anyway, sadly enough, the Don Callis family's been dominant on Collision because the other team won tonight, and Takeshita and Alexander did defeat Uno and Alex Reynolds. Meanwhile, Speedball Mike Bailey went up against Dralistico. Speedball Mike Bailey did win the matchup, but then Roosh comes out to confront Bailey. Bailey's like, come on. And then the main event, Daniel Garcia versus Dax Harwood. And it ended up a no contest because Cash Wheeler gets involved, Matt Menard decided to even the score, Stokely Hathaway gets involved, Nigel McGuinness, and, and it all became a brouhaha. In the end, no contest, no winner in that matchup. That is all the time we have on this episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. AEW Collision Event Center, May the 8th, 2025. So, I will see you guys on the next episode of the show. Tomorrow will be Bullseye and SmackDown. Ladies and gentlemen, until that next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.